Hi guys, in this video we're going to be looking at median smoothing. Median smoothing is the process of smoothing out the values of a graph to reduce the variance, to reduce the peaks and troughs, so that you can see the trends going on within that graph more easily. To perform median smoothing with 3 to 5 points, it's very similar to mean smoothing. The process is going to be exactly the same, except instead of finding the mean, we're going to be finding the median. Just like in mean smoothing, you find the median independently for each axis and then combine those two and find the intersection, which will form a singular median smoothed point. In this video, we will be specifically looking at an example of median smoothing for 3 points. Okay, let's get into the example. So this is the graph we're going to be working with. As you can see, it's quite high variance, but hopefully as we apply this median smoothing process, we're going to be able to smooth out some of that and have a better idea of what the trend underneath looks like. We start with t equals 2. We don't start with t equals 1 because we're doing 3-point median smoothing and we don't have 3 points that are centered around t equals 1. So we move to t equals 2. The 3 points centered around t equals 2 are t equals 1, t equals 2, and t equals 3. The median of the numbers 1, 2, and 3 is 2, and so then therefore our x-coordinate for this point will be t equals 2. Draw that in now. For our y-coordinates, we have a point here. We have a point here when t equals 3. And we have a point here when t equals 1. The median of those is, well, this one's the lowest, this one's the middle, and this one's the highest. So this value here is the middle, which is at 14. Median is 14. And then therefore the point they're actually going to want to put in goes here. And so our first median smooth point is the point at t equals 2, and its value is 14. Now we move along. The next point we can go is to t equals 3. Here we have t equals 2, t equals 3, and t equals 4. The median of those three is t equals 3. So we know that the x-coordinate for this point is going to be up along t equals 3. Again, we look at the heights of these points. We have this height here from the point at t equals 2, this height here from the point at t equals 4, and this height here from the point at t equals 3. Again, this point is the lowest. Now this point is in the middle, and this point here is the highest point out of the three. Therefore, our y-coordinate will be at 12 along this point, and it's going to go here where it intercepts our x-coordinate. Now we move on to our next point, which is going to be t equals 4. So we take the 3 points centered on t equals 4, 3, 4, and 5. Hopefully by this point you can see that the middle of these 3 points is t equals 4. It's always going to be the point that we're centering on. And so every time we're just going to be moving along 1 point along our t or x axis. We started with t equals 2, then we went to t equals 3, and now we're going to t equals 4. So put this line in here for t equals 4. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite line up with the point. That's my mistake. So our 3 points here are from t equals 5, this one. From t equals 4, one at this height. And from t equals 3, one at this height. The middle of those is this point here at t equals 4 at y equals 12. And so our point, therefore, is going to go here. If this graph was drawn perfectly, that would be directly on top of the point from the white graph, but unfortunately it isn't. Go through the process one last time here as we move over to t equals 5. We know that the 3 points centered on t equals 5 are going to be 4, 5, and 6. And we know because we centered on t equals 5 that our line is going to definitely come up from t equals 5. Goes up like this. Our 3 points, we have this one at the top, this one below it, and then this one at the bottom. The one from t equals 6, which is at a height 11, is our middle point. And so then therefore, our middle point that we put on our graph will be at 5, 11. Right there. Quickly going through the rest of the points, we have t equals 6, 5, 6, 7. This point here is in the middle, so that height lined up with t equals 6. T equals 7, we have this point, and this point. The middle of those three is this one. That's going to now be placed at t equals 7. For our next three at t equals 8, we have this point, and this point. The middle of those three is this one, which is going to be placed at t equals 8. That's what we're centering on. And then These next three here, point's going to go approximately there. These next three centered on t equals 10, the point will go here. And these last three centered on t equals 11, the point will go here. The last thing we have to do to actually turn this into a time series graph, median smooth time series graph, will be to actually link up our points. As you can see, our final graph here is much less variance than the original graph, and it's slightly more clear that there's a downwards trend going on. Hopefully this video helped you with median smoothing. To perform 5-point median smoothing, you'll be doing the exact same process, but you'll be centering on 5 points at the bottom, and therefore also 5 points on your y-axis.